Nice to see you guys. Awesome. Make sure you guys have your screens on. It's going to be an amazing Saturday. Hi, Wesley. We're waiting for everybody to come in. Thank you guys for coming in, getting your screens on. Awesome. Hi, Brianna. Hi. All right, we're gonna wait a few more minutes. Make sure y'all got your water if you had water you need to drink, or if you needed to use the restroom, anything. We are ready when you guys are, okay? Let's see. Hi, everybody. All right. About one more minute and then we'll get started. If you're just coming in, good morning. We are happy to have you on this early Saturday. We have an amazing presentation ready for you all. You guys got your bags, you guys got your flyers. Love to see you. Make sure you guys have your screens on so we can interact and really see you all, right? Now that we're here in Zoom. And we are about to get started.
Thank you, Ms. Castro.
You're most welcome.
Good morning, future Eagle engineers. My name is Miss Vanita. We would like to welcome all of you, and especially your officers for the 2022-2023 term. But before we get started, we would like to take a second to allow you to turn your cameras on if you are able. Now, President Harold Awasu, can you raise your hand? Okay, I see you. Vice President Joyce Corte, can you raise your hand? I don't see Joyce. Okay, Secretary Ian Salter Jr., can you raise your hand? Oh, I see you, Ian. And Treasurer Riley Phillips, can you raise your hand? Okay, I don't see Riley. Okay, maybe he'll come on a little bit later. Well, we thank these officers for stepping up, and we hope that all future Eagle engineers will continue to excel academically, become knowledgeable about STEM fields, and learn how you can positively impact your community. Now, you know that there are many holidays that we share with our families, like Christmas. And I think that we all love giving and receiving gifts. But let me tell you that there is something different about Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday. This holiday is about coming together as a NSBE Junior chapter to appreciate and reflect on keeping Dr. King's principles alive. When we talk about principles, we are talking about justice, freedom, equality, fairness, and service to the community. And by the way, Dr. King says that when you use these principles, then you can have a beloved community, even a beloved environment at your school. So you'll hear more about these principles very shortly. Before we kick this celebration off with Ms. Jana, I'm going to ask President Harold to please open the meeting. President Harold.
Good morning, Eagle engineers and ladies of the Old Dominion VA chapter, the Link Incorporated. Welcome to another session of Saturday Academy with more exciting and fun-filled STEM activities. I am Harold Owusu, president of the NSBE Junior Future Eagle Engineers at Minnieville and Fannie W. Fitzgerald Elementary School. I attend Fannie W. Fitzgerald Elementary School, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to the Vice President, Joyce Corti. Is the Vice President and attends Minnieville Elementary School. Ian Salter is the Secretary and attends Fannie W. Fitzgerald Elementary School. Riley Phillips is the Treasurer and attends Fannie W. Fitzgerald Elementary School. Genesis Valdez is the Program Director at Minnieville Elementary School. Now I'm going to ask our Secretary, Ian Seltzer, to take attendance this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Will the student please answer when I call your first name and wave so we can see you? I will start now. Emily Armstrong. Is there an Emily Armstrong? Okay. Rachel Trout. Janice, is there that? Let's see. What? Okay. Rachel, Genesis Saints Valadares. Nayla Orguero Chavez. Amina Miomi, okay. Okay, she's here. Let's see. Mikhail Tesfaye. Not to name Lemma. Here. Elizabeth Chavez Quintanilla.
Here.
Let's see. Anya Hassan.
Here.
Denzel Ture.
Hola.
Josiah Numa. All right. Okay. Aiden Sabelos.
Here.
Mario Sabelos.
Here.
Janice Boma. Okay. Joyce Courtney. Okay. Moha Kittle.
Here.
Yusik Azza. Ian, I'm not gonna call her name. Rosalind Benny.
Here.
All right. What happened? I think I got kicked out.
Did you press the button?
Oh,
We can still see you and hear you, Ian.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be in the screen. I thought he was out. I apologize. I don't know what happened to him. Like, keep reading the keep reading.
Farmers Warsaji. No farmers. Quadro Nicia. Ella McGurry. Okay. Chase Allen. Raj Popel. Isabella Hernandez. Leah Fuentes Guzman. Moxie Mukoma. Tulu Abu Bakar. Riley Phillips. Jordan Fraser. Adu Poku Wesley.
Here.
All right.
Harold Aulu. Awuzu. Okay. Rami Adu. Excuse me. Yuffie. Okay. Thank you. Thanks to all the students, and now I will turn it over to President Harold.
Thank you, Secretary Ian. And now it's Miss Jane is going to tell us more exciting things while learning about today.
Good morning, future Eagle engineers. We are excited about the very full morning that we have planned for you. Today, we are going to be talking about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On Monday, our nation will be celebrating the observance of Dr. King's birthday. Many schools and offices will be closed, and some people will be using it as a day of service to their community. That is what Dr. King was all about, service. We are going to get right into it this morning with our first speaker, Kyle Savage. Kyle Savage is from the local area of Fairfax County and attended South Lakes High School, where he played lacrosse and football. He went to college at Shenandoah University and studied really hard to become a nurse. He will soon be working at one of the largest hospitals in Pittsburgh, where he lives with his wife, Emily, and his cats. We are so glad that you are here, Kyle, to share to our future Eagle engineers about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But first, we will show a video about Dr. King. And once the video concludes, the next voice you'll hear is Mr. Kyle Savage.
Yeah. Today we honor a legend. This historical moment. MLK. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life began like yours or mine. Born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1929. Martin Luther and Alberta Williams were his parents' names. With siblings Alfred and Willie, Christine Martin would play games at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. They were raised. Their father was Minister King, where the congregation praised. Martin graduated from high school early at age 15 and went to Morehouse College, grew in knowledge, though just a teen. He learned thorough protest to slavery in 1849. Then at Rosa Seminary, he saw God's great design. He with the peaceful tactics Mahatma Gandhi used at every turn. Though he finished top of his class, he still had so much to learn. So off he went to study at Boston University. Met and married his wife Coretta Scott in 1953. Learned theology, worked toward diversity, cared for the poor, till he took a job as a pastor in 1954. 'Twas in Montgomery, Alabama, where hate was winning out. The whites claimed things were separate but equal, but Martin had his doubts. Jim Crow laws enforced separation between the blacks and whites. Blacks sat in the back of the bus, violating human rights. In 55, Rosa Parks was arrested for sitting in the front. Without a doubt, this historic event forced a battlefront. So Martin led a bus boycott. People walked to inspire a fix. Till the protesters gleaned the laws were changed in 56.
Dr. King preached resistance. Dr. King
he continued to advocate for the NAACP. He spoke of civil rights as he traveled from sea to sea. Next, he led the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to help people toward the goal of fairness and tolerance. At the Lincoln Memorial, he backed the Civil Rights Act, which later became a law that no one could redact. He staged sit-ins where blacks would sit in white-only spaces. Arrests followed as segregation fueled hate between the races. In Birmingham, there were boycotts against the businesses they protested. Laws had gone uncontested. Adults and children were beaten, fire hose detested. The people hoped for a change, but instead were arrested. The media caught it all, shown on every TV station, heard on radio, in the news, and made an angry nation. Social and financial pressures were felt in Birmingham. It was time to change unfair laws before they heard from Uncle Sam. In '63, JFK introduced the Civil Rights Bill. King held a march in Washington to affirm the people's will. In King's famous I Have a Dream speech, Martin boldly said his dream was that one day the news of equality would spread. So one day his 4 children would grow up to live in a place where they would no longer dwell, separated by their race. A nation where children aren't judged by the color of their skin, but rather by their character, as it should have always been. Yeah.
Dr. King preached resistance. Was most effective through nonviolence.
That's right. Non-violence. This Dr. King's words were televised, inspired every nation. The Civil Rights Bill passed in '64, a righteous declaration. That same year, Dr. King was honored, as was most deserved. Peaceful opposition was the way he always served. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, though he had more to promote. Progress had been made, but still so hard for blacks to vote. In '65, he planned to march from Selma to Montgomery. State troopers tried to stop their trek across the country. That's right. President Johnson sent his federal troops for their protection, so they had the chance to voice their literacy, test objections. Not long after President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act, giving all citizens equal rights to vote. As a matter of fact, Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream to liberate, but soon he was assassinated in 1968. President Reagan ensured that his deeds would be retold, making the third Monday in January a day we behold. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a national holiday, a time to remember he paid with his life to bring a better way. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a national holiday. Let's go. A time to remember he paid with his life to bring a better way.
Dr. King preached resistance. Was most effective through nonviolence. Dr. King preached resistance.
Hello, future NSBE engineers. Wasn't that an awesome video? And thank you for the warm welcome, Miss Jana. I really do appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here speaking to you guys, talking about such an important person, especially for our history. Let's start with, who was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? We know that Dr. King is famous for his speeches and his powerful impact on our society. Part of Dr. King's impact was his stance on environmental justice. So what is environmental justice? Environmental justice is the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, income, or with respect to development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. So what does that mean? That's a lot of words to say that we should all live in an environment that is fair, just, and equal. Who is Dr. Martin Luther King? So we just went through that awesome video. Here's some more facts about him. We know that he is a beloved civil rights icon. He was born January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was an American Baptist minister and one of the greatest leaders of our civil rights movement in the United States. He led several important movements, not the least of which was the Montgomery bus boycott. He led a march on Washington, although that was not his only speech at the Lincoln Memorial. And he was one of the earliest believers in environmental justice being an important part of how we live and share the land and the area with all people, not just, not that some people shouldn't have more access to clean water, or some people shouldn't have more access to good streets, good roads, good sidewalks. So what did Dr. King say about environmental justice? Dr. King believed that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Part of Dr. King's belief in environmental justice was that everyone should be able to live in an environment that is safe and equitable. He said, it really boils down to this, that all life is interrelated. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied into a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. We aren't going to have peace on earth until we recognize this basic fact of the interrelated structure of all reality. We are all interconnected. Injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. So let's talk about it. Future NSBE engineers, what does environmental justice mean to you? Feel free to chime in, ask questions. Anybody? Let's start with actually President Owusu. What does environmental justice mean to you?
Stop polluting and stuff.
Yeah, now let's go to the Vice President. Let's hear what you think. See there? Did we lose him?
He's not here today.
Okay, gotcha. Let's go with Wesley. What do you think environmental justice means?
I think environmental justice means like no having separate gender schools.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's actually good. That's a good one. Let's see. Miss Castro, what does environmental justice mean to you?
I think environmental justice means making sure that everybody has a fair shot, has a fair starting point.
Yeah,
Equal
absolutely.
for everybody.
Absolutely. Amina Momini, what does it mean to you?
Mr. Kyle, I also see Ian's hand up and Moha.
Oh, Ian. Yeah, no, what does environmental justice mean to you, Ian?
It means to don't discriminate when you see other people. Like don't bully them when they are different colors from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Moha, what about you?
Make the world a better place.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, awesome. So, why does that matter? Global warming, the gradual heating of the earth due to greenhouse gases, affects everyone, but people who are disenfranchised, people who don't have the same opportunities as everyone else, people who are at a disadvantage, are at a greater risk due to the effects of something like global warming. So now we're going to do some case studies. We're going to talk about some real life issues that have happened in our country within the past 5 to 10 years. And then we're gonna analyze the problem, and we're gonna think about what we would do. How would we react to these situations? How would we solve these problems if we, talked about it and we did the right thing based on environmental justice? Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is Flint, Michigan. So in Flint, Michigan, the city council decided that they wanted to perform a cost-cutting measure. They wanted to save money. And the way they were going to save money was to use river water from the local Flint River to give the city its water. Now, what they didn't do, what they did improperly, was they didn't allow for proper treatment of the river water, and they didn't guard properly against corrosion, which allowed contaminants such as lead and bacteria to leach into the city's water. So the residents of Flint immediately noticed this change in their water quality, and it had some long-term effects that caused children born in Flint to be given a very unfair disadvantage. They were not given a level playing field because the city council did not give them equal water to the rest of the state. This also caused some medical issues, some growth and development issues for children, adults, all people of all colors, creeds, nationalities, but people that lived in Flint were all affected. So, given what we know about this situation, how would we go about fixing or trying to solve the problem? And how would we go about trying to make the environment in Flint, Michigan, a more equal and just environment? Let's start with Denzel. Why don't we start with you?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay. What do you think about it?
I would go protest.
Yeah, absolutely. Making your voice heard is a great way to bring attention to the problem, bring attention to the situation. Let's see. Brianna, what about you?
Um,
Oh,
He was back prepared his head for the planet. Adrian,
let
go to your room.
people
Yes.
hear what you gotta say, like those testing.
yeah, I hear you. Awesome. Let's go to Aiden. How would you approach this situation? What would you try to do in that community to make it a more just, more equal situation for the people of Flint? Oop, Aiden. That's okay. That's all good. That's all good. Let's see. Harold, what would you do?
Oh, I'm gonna go on a protest and also like try and sue whoever made the water.
So you'd go straight to the court. Okay. Okay, that's it. You know
Wow.
what? That's an active
That
role.
fast?
Yeah, that's an active role. That's an active role that you can do. That's something that you can do to make your voice heard, and utilizing our court systems, much like Dr. King, affect change in laws and amongst that city council. So that's good. That's really good, guys. That's really good. So the next one we're going to talk about is Jackson, Mississippi. So in Jackson, Mississippi, it was also another issue with the water. Okay. But the city of Jackson, because of global warming, got an unusual amount of rain and flooding and water, and it caused the city's largest water treatment plant to fail. It broke. Um, this left 160,000 people, including their hospitals, fire stations, schools, houses, without safe drinking water. They couldn't take showers. They couldn't, wash their hands. They couldn't do anything that involved water because it was all polluted and contaminated. You might as well have just gone outside and got a cup of rainwater because it would have been cleaner than the water that they had. This particular incident affected a majority of African Americans. So remember, we said 160,000 people, 140,000 of the residents of Jackson, Mississippi are African American. So they didn't have any clean water. So again, imagine that you can't take a shower, you can't take a bath, you can't wash your hands, you can't even get a cup of coffee because your Keurig doesn't have any clean water. So let's think about that, and let's think, what would we have done to one, address the crisis from a humanitarian or perspective? What would we do to help? And then how would we, if we lived in Jackson, try to make the environment better? Let's start with Elizabeth. Why don't we start with you? Maybe. Why don't we try Amina?
I guess I would. Have we go to a different country and ask for help? I guess.
Okay, you could do that. You could take a global approach. That is actually a really good idea, right? Taking a more global approach. And within the United States, we could maybe go to a different state, ask the neighboring states for some help. I like that idea, Mina. That's really good. Let's see. Why don't we go to Ian, what would you do?
What I do is if I had a face tat, I'd actually kind of like the civil rights, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get rights to like if they don't want to do it, I'm gonna either have to sue them or
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to do what Amina said, go to another state.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Everyone.
Yeah. I like the, you know what? I like the aggressive action. He's looking to make some changes. Why don't we go to Anaya? Did I say that right? Nice.
I would give bottled water to people who need it.
Yeah, that's a quick solution to the big problem, right? They don't have clean drinking water, so we're gonna give them some bottled water so they can cover themselves at least for a little while we try to fix the ultimate problem.
Why don't you just give them sell out rainwater, so then they'll just use that water to take baths and drink.
So it would be good if we had enough rainwater. So the challenge with that is we always have to have, rainwater available. And that's not always the case. But I like the idea. I like that you're using the environment that they are given to try to improve their environment. That is awesome. That's a great idea. Okay. So what can we do in our communities to improve environmental justice, right? We can be like Dr. King. We can be an activist. So when we were talking earlier, a lot of people said, like, I would go to protest, I would go to the courts, I would do, things of that nature. That's a good idea. That's really good stuff. We can be the change that we want to see in our own home. So even in your own environment, we can try to create environmental justice. When you're at school, if you see something on the ground, you see some trash, we clean it up. We pick it up because we want everybody around us to have a nice, clean, and equal environment to go about their day. We don't want to have one classroom be filled with trash while another classroom is completely clean and sparkling. We can always recycle, and we can always be aware of our food and our resources so that we aren't being wasteful. So this is a science group. We like science, right? So how can science help? So you'll see some pictures on here, right? So what are some of these options? Harold, give me some ideas as to what, based on the pictures that are on the screen, what options do we have here?
We have a solar panel
Yeah, exactly. So solar panels allow us to create clean energy, right? Clean energy can be disseminated widely. And if we set up a solar panel bank in a city, right, that city can now power itself. And then everybody in that city gets electricity, running water, et cetera, et cetera. That's awesome. Good job.
Mr.
80.
Kyle, Mr.
Yeah.
Kyle, Moha has the hand up.
Oh, Moha. Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh my goodness. Moha, what else did you see on here?
I see a wind turbine.
Yeah, exactly. A wind turbine. That's awesome. So
I see
again,
transportation.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. Exactly. So wind turbines, let's start there. Wind turbines allow us to generate electricity just by having them in the environment and creating wind energy, right? And then we said,
Mhm.
who said that we saw transportation? Who said that?
Enzo.
Enzo, okay, nice. That's awesome. Good stuff, right? So we have a bullet train. So a bullet train allows for a lot of people to move from point A to point B with a lot of speed. So we are generating less emissions in the environment, right? And we are able to get from point A to point B very fast with a lot of people. That's awesome. And then the last one is electric cars. We all like, I love cars. And electric cars are they produce no emissions and they allow us to get around clean and we usually using clean energy. So that was really good. I think all in all, I think Dr. King would be very impressed and proud of our technological advancements, both using the science and using our activism, our ability to make ourselves heard towards environmental justice. Do we have any questions? No? Okay. I'm going to hand it over now to Miss Katina, and she's going to tell you about Dr. King's impact in the global scale, the global perspective.
Good morning, future Eagle engineers. So happy to be here with you today. So I'm Miss Katina and wanted to talk a little more about Dr. King and his global influence on not just America, but on the world, and draw a lot of those similarities that Mr. Kyle talked about and that you heard in the video as well. So next slide, please. So Dr. King advanced civil rights for people of color in the United States through nonviolence and civil disobedience. He was inspired by his Christian beliefs and nonviolent activism by Mahatma Gandhi, and he led a targeted nonviolent resistance against Jim Crow laws and other forms of discrimination in the United States. So let's talk about Mahatma Gandhi. Who was he? He was an Indian lawyer, an anti-colonial nationalist, and he led successful campaign for India's independence from British rule. And later, he inspired movements of civil rights and freedom across the world. So he also famously led the Salt March. And this is a march that lasted for 24 days back in 1930. And the march was against the tax resistance campaign using nonviolent protest against the British salt monopoly. So the taxation of salt occurred in India since the earliest times. And this tax was greatly increased when the British Indian Company began to establish its rule over certain provinces in India. So between 1835 and then 1930, as you can see, when Mahatma Gandhi rose up against this unfair taxation, until the Crown took over the administration and the taxes were never replaced. So they had to pay those high taxes unfairly. Let's talk about Dr. King and his international influence as a leader. So his human rights leadership emerged movement against the South African apartheid in the 1960s. And then it was accelerated with his opposition to the Vietnamese War in 1965. And again, it reached its apex in his Beyond Vietnam speech at the Riverside Baptist Church in 1967. So Dr. King further continued his national march against poverty, and it moved in other ways to emphasize economic rights as human rights, co-equal to political and civil rights. And he was he did this all before he was assassinated in 1968. So Dr. King borrowed from influence from his work, his nonviolent principles, and his international work of the Bose, from Mahatma Gandhi again in India, Paul Robeson, and Philip Randolph. And these are also American activists. But Dr. King famously won the Nobel Peace Prize when he was 35 years old, and he was the youngest man to do this. Does anybody know what the Nobel Peace Prize is?
Is it a prize for being noble?
It is, absolutely. And it's a global prize for the furtherance of, he won it for the furtherance of the civil rights movement, but it really is bringing together across the globe peaceful existence through nations. So his prize money, $54,123, he spent that to further the peace movement or the civil rights movement in America. And you've heard this before, but one of the statements in his acceptance speech, I believe that unnamed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphant. And that's Dr. King accepting his Nobel Peace Prize. We talked about environmental rights, but really Dr. King tied that into animal rights. And animal rights advocates believe non-human animals should also live free, and they shouldn't be exploited or otherwise interfered with by humans. So what do you think? Do animals have rights?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yes, they do. So very few countries believe that and put it into law. However, the United Kingdom and the United States did that very thing. They put it into law. So basic protections and guidelines on how animals could be treated. In 2021, the United Kingdom's House of Commons introduced a bill. Okay, but not Miss Jana, would you monitor the chat for me? I appreciate that. This bill was set into law so that animals, in fact, were recognized as sentient beings, like they emotional beings, and they deserve humane treatment at the hands of humans. All right. So let me talk about the 5 freedoms of animal welfare. There are 5 freedoms of animal welfare, which was written by an Irish medical scientist, Francis Bradbell, that was set into law in the United Kingdom's Farm Animal Welfare Council in 1979, and represent the standards that animals in captivity should have. So the first one, freedom from thirst and hunger. That ties into what Mr. Kyle just talked about in terms of environmental rights. Freedom from discomfort by providing adequate shelter, freedom from disease, pain, or injury, just like human rights, and freedom from distress and fear, again, like human rights, and freedom to engage in natural behaviors. I've got a picture here of Dr. King with a German Shepherd, and this was a police dog. So when Dr. King was arrested, they put this dog in the back of the police car to evoke fear. And this dog was absolutely loving Dr. King, and he loved this animal as well. So he didn't fear it, and this animal didn't fear him either. So Dr. King really furthered the human rights. It ties into animal rights and to our environmental rights as well. All right, next slide. So nonviolent activism. All these are global lessons from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., climate change, human rights, and animal rights. And then the quote that I've chosen here, which you've heard before: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. All right, any questions?
No.
I just wanted to say, I think you might be getting direct messages because I'm not seeing anything. And if you're getting messages in the chat.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Ms. Jana. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to jump right into Miss Princess as part of the presentation this morning.
Good morning, future Eagle engineers. We've heard so much about Dr. King, and this is not enough time to tell you everything about him. But we're going to focus on the song. But in order to get us to the songs that were sung during some of these marches and protests, I want to make sure that everybody is clear with some of the things. Let me work this thing here. Okay, it's not moving. Ooh, gone too fast there. Okay. So some of the words that you've heard, everybody's clear with the word protests, marches, civil rights, equality. And that civil rights, I want to stop right here, right here. Civil rights equal to peace rights, to human rights. You've heard about things with animals, but we too deserve to have certain things. Things like the right to vote once you get in a certain age, the right to government services, the right to go to school here in the United States of America, and the right to public facilities and the right to a fair trial. So that's your civil human rights that are automatically given to you, as long as you just don't disobey them. So let's go to the next one. And these are some pictures of those kind of rights in the black and white. You see the ones that happened back in the 60s. And then the ones off to that are in color that were protesting the injustices are in the past year or so. You've probably seen a lot of those pictures. Dr. Martin Luther King was really a smart man. He had 2 degrees, bachelor degrees, plus a doctoral degree, 12 years. 12 years. You have to go 12 years just to get out of high school. So he went on and had 3 degrees, but none of them were really in the focus of being an activist. He was a minister. But being an activist is very, very important. So this is one of the marches I want to tell you because it's going to lead into the songs. Selma to Montgomery March, 54 miles, 5 days and about 3 attempts to do that. So we're going to talk about the songs that were sung during this time. And we'll start with number 5, because we as people of color were angry, and we weren't the only ones that were out there, but we wanted to say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That was one of the songs came out in the 60s. And the next one was ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Any of y'all heard that? Raise your hands. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking. Y'all heard that song? All right. How about this one? This one's from 1920s. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. Yes, you've heard that song. And then sometimes it was just a somber time they needed to do. We shall overcome. So we just cut that one short there. But one that is sung today at any event, especially those of people of color, Black people, is Lift Every Voice and Sing. This song was created, written as a poem in 1900. So that means how many years old it is? Like 123 years old. And it was done by Weldon Johnson, excuse me, and his brother, Roseman Johnson. Roseman Johnson put it to music. It was all a poem that he wanted his children to recite, get this, at a luncheon in 1900, his students, because he was a principal, in 1900 for Booker T. Washington. You've heard of Booker T. Washington, right? Nod your heads. Yep, you've heard of him. And this was a luncheon for him. So we're going to hear the music and then we're going to come back to the words. So if we could play that now, and I'll stop share so we can move it on. Benita? Oh, there we go.
Sweet.
So, how many of you heard that song before? Raise your hands. Okay, if you haven't learned that song or heard it before, we probably want to share, make sure you get that. It has three different verses for it. I learned that when I was in the second grade. That was one of the songs that we was taught to us in school as well as church. So you may want to learn that one. So here are just some of the lyrics again. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Anybody have an idea what that may mean? We'll go on here. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening side. Let it resound as a rolling sea. That means to go ahead and do whatever you're doing. Do it with power, to do it with grace, to make sure your voice is heard. Like you've heard with Dr. King as a coordinator of many peaceful protest marches. Sing a song full of the faith. These are my favorite parts. Full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Those are things of history that has brought us to this day. And sing of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun. Where does the sun start? In the east. That means that we're seeing a new day. Every time that sun rises, we see a new day. It's a new day. So that's the beginning of a new day. Let us march on till victory is won. And how many of you seen this in DC? Been able to touch it? This is the monument for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And if you notice around it, it is called the Stone of Hope. And that's what he wanted us to do, to hope. Hope for a better day, hope for a future for all of us, so we can all live in harmony together. Oops. And that concludes Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Future Eagle Engineers, can we give all of our speakers today a round of applause? We thank you for showing up today and participating. We hope that you enjoyed what you heard and saw. In honor of Dr. King, we have filled your goodie bags with items we hope you'll enjoy. You can open your bags now. In it, you'll find Martin Luther King book, a rock, some paint pens to color your rock, to make kindness rock. The hope is that you'll take your rock and paint pens and decorate it with words of love and kindness and encouragement, and leave it somewhere in your community for others to find. The intention of it is to spread kindness. If someone finds your rock, they can either keep it or rehide it. In your bag, you'll also find a paper with examples of what you can write on your rock, or you can make up your own message. Finally, you'll find a pencil. This pencil is cool because it's plantable. You just stick the pencil in soil after you've used it, and the plant will sprout. The pencil will have a second life as a plant. As we get ready to close out for the morning, we'll take a 5-question survey. Ms. Karen, would you please put the survey link in the chat for the students to complete?
Miss Jana, you have a hand raised.
Oh, I don't. Oh, is it Michael? Michael? No? No question? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you. Oh, I still can't hear you. Something's going on with your sound, I think. Do you want to type it to me in the chat? So does everyone see the link in the chat? So go ahead and answer those questions for us. So just take, I'm sorry?
I don't see the link.
I see a link, but it doesn't work.
Same.
Mine
Karen,
doesn't work either.
Could you put the new lab? Someone else put a lab in, another link in there.
Ethan?
Yeah, put it in there. Replace it.
Oh, okay, just a bit.
Miss Karen, is the link not working this morning?
Mine doesn't work either.
It's a different link than what was given before. I will put that in there. Put it in there. Try this one.
So the link is in there. Everyone go ahead and click on the link. It should work. I shortened the link. Give me a thumbs up. All right, so the link works. So you guys have got a wealth of information today. So go ahead and click on the link. Make sure you answer every question. Did I have a question? Did I hear a question?
I do. I have a question.
Okay.
Are we leaving?
So we are near the end of the program, but we definitely want you to fill out the evaluation first, and then your president will actually close out your meeting. And when you finish the evaluation, make sure that you hit the submit button so that we will receive your input.
I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You're glitching.
Can anyone else, is anyone else having problems hearing me?
I can hear you.
Maybe someone else can say what I said.
Everyone is glitching.
It may just be the connection at your house. So, but we are close to the end. So if you can do your best to complete the survey in the chat, and then the president will close the meeting.
Okay. I'm done.
Great. Just waiting on everyone else.
Yeah. No, it's not sad. This is so sad. That is so annoying. I hate.
Can I get a thumbs up if you're done? Not yet. Okay.
We're almost halfway there. I see 6 responses have come in.
Thank you.
Yeah. This activity was fun. I'm done with my work.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone, okay.
Just waiting for a couple more people.
Did I hear someone say this was fun? Make sure you complete the survey and say that it's fun.
I'm finished.
You said it, Denzel. Thank you. We're glad you enjoyed it this morning.
Tired.
You tired?
Yes.
Oh,
Ew, I barely got sleep.
Oh.
I woke up very early today.
Oh, wow. Well, you can take a nap after this.
I know.
And you have an extra day off this week.
That's
How
right.
about that? On
Yeah,
Monday.
but tomorrow I have church.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
that's right. Well, that's good. That's good. Miss Karen, are we almost there?
You can go ahead. I'm not certain how many kids we have, but the survey will remain open for them if they weren't able to complete it and submit it. So we can go ahead.
Okay. So let's talk about what's next. On January 28th, in just 2 weeks, you will find out what it takes to become a rocket scientist. You will learn fascinating information about telescopes, astronomy, the Earth's place in space, how gravity works, and some fun facts about the universe. And of course, there will be some sort of activity with prizes. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss this presentation. And with that said, I will turn the program over to Ms. Jana.
Thank you, Ms. Benita. And thank you again to all of today's presenters. We hope that you have a wonderful remainder of your Saturday and that you enjoyed today's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. President Harold, please close us out and adjourn us.
The meeting is now, the January 14th meeting is now adjourned.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.